Hello, listeners. I'm Timstradamus, and it's the day after Thanksgiving, and I am full of happiness and excitement for this episode. You didn't let me finish. Shame on you, listeners. And with me, as always, is my talented and beautiful co-hostess, Voyse.
Good morning, Timstradamus, and welcome all listeners to Black Friday, where if someone falls over, gently reach over them and get your TV.
What? For any new listeners, Voyse and I enjoy reading and talking about stories from the internet that are interesting, funny, and dramatic. Because of our love of stories, we've come together and created this channel to share with you those experiences.
And hopefully give you some leftover turkey.
I'll take the pecan.
No, that's mine.
Nope.
I don't share my pecan pie.
It's a good thing I'm eating it all.
I'm going to eat all the whipped cream then.
Don't do that. We'll share it. So, Voyse, what have you crafted for me on this Black Friday?
I have brewed for you what I consider a prelude to Christmas. It has cocoa nibs, peppermint, lavender, a little bit of vanilla extract.
Oh boy, that is Christmas. Yep.
In a cup.
In a cup.
I'm so excited.
That's very minty.
Yeah. I was trying to add a little bit more vanilla to kind of peter out the mint, but it's very minty.
Yeah, I give it a 4 out of 5.
Hey ya! Well, while you enjoy your morning cup of brew, why don't we go ahead and delve into these Black Friday stories? And for any listeners wanting to follow along, oh, you did that too soon. I was like, wait a minute, did I even say that? Well, while you enjoy your morning cup of brew, you know, listeners, he's been pointing at things at the wrong time. It's been a whole thing.
Okay.
For any listeners wanting to follow along, all story links are in the description below. This first story was actually given to us by a listener.
Oh.
Am I the a-hole for breaking up with my boyfriend over the Barbie movie? I literally don't know what to do right now, and I feel so helpless turning to Reddit for advice/validation. But 3 days ago, my boyfriend and I went to see the Barbie movie. I've been really excited as I'm a huge Greta Gerwig fan and my boyfriend likes Ryan Reynolds. Other than him being in the movie, my boyfriend didn't know anything else about it. I, on the other hand, was aware of its feminist themes and was secretly hoping my boyfriend would get the message. Over the duration of the movie, I could tell he was getting more and more uncomfortable/upset, and I was getting really sad, both from the movie and his reaction, and I knew we would end up having a conversation about it afterwards. He didn't talk to me until we got in the car. He then told me he was really offended by the movie and said that it was the kind of thing I should have watched with my girlfriends and not him. I understood where he was coming from, but I'm not going to even start explaining why I disagreed. We have been having problems with his weird comments about women, the LGBTQ community, and other stuff. He would deem it bullshit. Maybe it was a long time coming, but this was the straw that broke the camel's back. I was tired of having to always deal with his attitude and disrespect, and was also maybe on this girl power high, so I told him it was over. The complicated part is this: he lived with me. He has been in between serving jobs, and since he was my freaking boyfriend, I let him move in with me 6 months ago. Living with him is a whole other story, but I couldn't take it anymore and had him leave my apartment the next day. I stayed at my friend's house while he packed up his stuff. He said he understood and that he didn't want to live with me another second anyways. I assumed he had a place to go, but apparently he didn't. His brother called me a few hours ago saying he's MIA. His friends are blowing up my phone saying the same thing. I feel like this is all my fault. No one has heard from him in 24 hours. I did think it was weird when I came home and all the food in the fridge was gone, all the batteries in our electronics drawer were gone. He took my phone charger and half the blankets. I know now he did not, in fact, have anywhere to go, or a car. He had been using mine since his engine busted last month. The worst part is we still have his location, and it's saying he's 2 states away. I don't know how he got there. I can't believe this is all because of the freaking Barbie movie. Am I the a-hole?
Okay, so this is obviously a little bit of an older story because Barbie came out, during the summertime, if I'm remembering correctly?
Correct.
Okay. And there was many opinions from every person, from every walk of life about that film. I think I'll summarize it like this because I guess it would almost be like a piece of art where, like, if 10 people looked at it, all 10 people would have walked away from that feeling 10 different ways.
I agree with that.
That is what art is supposed to do. But truly, at the end of the day, you guys had different values. Not everyone shares the same values. And that's one of the things you kind of have to align on, especially if you want a successful long-term relationship. You guys look at life differently. That's just the way it was. I don't think you're the a-hole for that.
Well, the consensus on Reddit is our OP's not the a-hole. In fact, it's as you said, Timstradamus. You're allowed to break up with whomever you want, and truly for any reason that you want. You don't need to be staying in a relationship that is not good for either of you. And I have to say, I don't think this has anything to do with the Barbie movie. It has to do with their relationship. Now, our OP actually does give us an update, so let me go ahead and read that. Hi, everyone.
Hey.
I know everyone says this, but I really didn't expect this to blow up. I'm a little embarrassed, but in light of everything I've learned over the past 24 hours, I'm once again oversharing on Reddit. Before anything else, I wrote the post in a frenzy of panic and guilt. With a clearer head, I can recognize that yes, we broke up because we were incompatible, and I was at my limit, not because of a movie. Some people were saying I maybe needed the Barbie movie more than he did, since I was clearly dating a bigot. And to that I agree. I was convinced I loved him, but I think I just didn't really understand my value / feel deserving of someone better. I've learned my lesson, and as a woman of color, will never let myself be treated like that again. My biggest regret is that my loved ones had to endure him as well. Well, I've been cheated on before, but I usually find out and then we break up. Since I found out about my ex cheating after I broke up with him, I'm not exactly torn up about it. I feel like I skipped the questioning and sadness and went straight to the over it. But since I have everyone's attention, I'm just going to put him on blast right now. I can confidently say his beliefs were the worst part about him, and I'm not extremely surprised that he didn't respect me enough to be loyal. But the way I found out was actually kind of funny. His brother had been keeping me semi-updated on the missing Ken situation, but I haven't really been asking any questions other than how he and his family are doing. They're not mad at me as they are aware of the situation. His brother even thanked me for taking care of him for as long as I did. He texted me this morning around 9 saying we don't need to worry anymore because he's at their cousin's house in Colorado Springs. Then, around 12 in the afternoon, I got multiple calls from a friend of his saying that he heard from my ex. This friend sucks so much, I'm not even gonna get into it. I supremely regret giving him my number. He was obviously under the influence of some sort, not to judge, but literally 12 p.m. at the present. And he's telling me stuff like, he is literally so much happier now that you let him go and that he just felt bad for me and that I was charity work. And then he said, now he can be with his main for real. His name getting some real pussy now. Literally, pause. I asked him to clarify, and he gave me that, oh, she laughing guy thing they do when they say something they weren't supposed to. Then he said, fuck me, and hung up. The potentially craziest part that's been getting to me is that he is definitely at his cousin's house. His brother confirmed. I think I'm going crazy because I've seen his cousin on his Insta feed before and she's literally stunning. He said she's his second cousin and I don't really know how related they are. If this is real, I can't even comprehend what this means. Maybe it's not real. I don't know. But I think it's the perfect ending to the story. I'm not going to update anymore after this because I feel like I'm going to regret this update. But final notes. He must have taken all the stuff from the house out of spite. I found out he took the batteries from the remotes and my hair blow dryer too. I don't know how he got to his cousin's house. I didn't ask. Or what happened to my Dyson Airwrap. But maybe his girlfriend/cousin is using it now. In spite of Barbie, she can have it. I'm good. And yes, I know I said Ryan Reynolds when it was Ryan Gosling. Like that one comment said, facial blindness is real. That's all.
Well, it seems like the relationship headed where it needed to head.
It did. And if anything, good for OP. You know, the relationship is not good, and apparently it's pretty toxic and kind of weird. Do what's right for you.
That cousins thing is wild though, but whatever.
I ain't touching on that.
Nope.
Well, for our next story, would I be the a-hole if I, female 39, insisted or expected my dad, male 65, to shorten his holiday to attend my wedding/birthday? Like many people, I dreamed of a wedding day my whole life. 4 years ago, I made a vague declaration that if I wasn't married by 40 years old, I'd throw a wedding for my birthday, and I set up a Facebook event for it. In February next year, that's exactly what I'm doing for my 40th. It will have everything a wedding has aside from a groom/partner to marry, and as far as I'm concerned, to me, this is my wedding day. It's my one and only wedding day, and it's the most important celebration I'm ever going to have. I won't ever marry a person, just trust me on this. Originally, I had set the date on a Facebook event for March, better weather, but at crunch time last month, I set the date for 17th of February, close to my actual birthday, because the venue I wanted was available. I found out today, during general chit-chat with my stepmom, that she and my dad are going away on holiday for 2 months, 24th December through the 23rd of February, so they won't attend my wedding day. She was really unapologetic, like she was just saying she'd be missing a Sunday dinner, totally blasé about it. Even saying she was missing other family birthdays as well. Pretty sure no one else is marrying themselves or having a milestone birthday. She said simply, it is what it is, and we can't change our plans now. My dad was equally as, oh well, never mind about it. I feel as though I see how it's ended up happening where these events have been overlapped in booking. My feeling is that my dad is now choosing to miss my wedding day. Like, he could come back a week early. They'd let him change a flight, I'm sure. He could go away for 7 weeks instead of 8. He's acting like it's no big deal and that they can't change plans, and it's my fault anyway for changing the time. I honestly think they forgot about the 4-year-old Facebook event anyway. Am I the a-hole?
All right. Well, let's pitter patter into this story because you are correct when you said it. This is very quirky. My understanding of a wedding is when two people get married. In this case, our OP is marrying herself. Now, I've heard of that happening, and if that's the way you want to go about your life, you're more than allowed to. I'm not judging anyone. I guess she sets the date sometime in
March.
Is it March? Then she moves it. Now, if she hadn't have moved it, then her parents, I guess, would be in attendance. The issue here is that they're not able to because she moved it somewhere in February.
Correct.
And her parents are on a 2-month holiday. They already set their plans. They bought their tickets. They're going somewhere. That's a whole big thing.
They're retired because he's 65. So, they put a lot of planning and timing and investment into this.
That's not something you can just up and say, all right, well, let's go collect our tickets and get refunds. But our almost 40-year-old OP believes that, I guess, she's owed that. They should be going out of their way and doing this because they knew I was doing this 4 years ago. But at the crux of the issue is you changed the plans from one date to another. And that's not how weddings work. Normally, when a wedding is put in place, it is a firm, hard date. It's hard to move everything. So how can you expect other people around you to be beholden to something that's not really set in stone?
Actually, in the comments section, she puts down where when the date was moved up, a lot of her friends had to actually accommodate her for that.
At least she has friends that are trying to support her. Now, your parents, it sounds like she says that they almost write her off. Hey, look, I'm sorry we can't be there, but we have these things already set in stone. Sorry about it. That's what I heard.
Yes.
It obviously did not mean as much to them as it does to you. And you knew we were in the middle of our 2-month vacation. Why are you setting that date there? But at the end of the day, they already had plans. It shouldn't be up to them to have to switch their plans because you switched yours. So in my opinion, OP, you are the a-hole. Your story is very interesting, though.
Well, the consensus on Reddit is that our OP is definitely the a-hole. In fact, I'll just outline a few things. There are some individuals in the comment section that says, you clearly don't understand what a celebration for a wedding is. It's the bonding of two people, a unity. They're like, the only way that they can see this as being a bonding of two things is you and your ego. Harsh, but it made me laugh. Now, there are some individuals that say, this doesn't sound so much as a wedding as it's sounding more like a birthday with a wedding theme. Regardless, you can call it a wedding a million times over, but when you lump it together with your birthday, it's kind of no longer a wedding at that point. It's your birthday. And then there are a lot of individuals that are saying, hey, you're the one that changed the dates. And it sounds like your father's in this retired age. It probably took them a lot to get this long vacation together where they probably planned it all out, as I said before. And now you're expecting for them to change their plans because you want the spotlight. That's not right. Especially after our OP came out and said that a lot of her friends actually tried to accommodate for the changes on everything that happened when it came to picking an earlier date. For me, it sounds like our OPs, and I hate to say it like this, selfish. If you had a lot of people that had to accommodate to support you, I don't understand why it is that just one date couldn't be picked out and sort of firmly planted in the ground if this was supposed to be an actual wedding, because there are a lot of individuals out there who have their wedding, and as you said, Timstradamus, you stake that claim, that is the day. It doesn't get moved everywhere. Now, let me actually go ahead and read the edit that our OP put in. They actually said, I spent most of the time in the thread explaining the wedding theme of the party to people who don't get it and are angry about the concept more than my question, which is fine, it's Reddit, so it's not always easy or necessary to explain nuances. It's not the point. Anyway, no harm, no foul, because I spoke to my dad and stepmom on the phone. I didn't say anything other than I thought they were back in time, and it was a shame that they couldn't be there. Part of the reason I came to Reddit was because my sister and my friends are outraged about it, but they know more about my family and my history than everyone here. I'm not going to say anything else to my dad about it, and everyone else is really looking forward to it, so we'll have a great time, and my dad said he'll FaceTime us.
Sounds like there's way more to this story than we're privy to.
Exactly, which in the end, for me, lists that it's very hard. You're giving us...
Well, there's a big detail missing. They're like, my friends all are upset with my mom and my dad for not being here because they understand the history. Well, if you're going to put out the story and not give me your history, then everyone's still going to give you the answer that you're not looking for. So, I mean, that leaves a lot to the imagination.
I have to just say, based on what we know right now, you can have a celebration for 100 different reasons and call it whatever you want. That is what I feel is freedom, to be able to do that. Whether someone agrees or disagrees, I think is neither here nor there. However, having a little bit of etiquette and making sure that everything is planned out, especially if the event is supposed to be important to you, you shouldn't be wishy-washy on things like dates.
Yep.
Now, let's go to our next story, and I love this next topic, fan fiction. Am I the a-hole for telling my sister it's time to grow up and stop writing fan fiction? My female 30 sister, female 32, and I have been chatting recently, and I asked her what she's been up to recently. She got all excited and told me all about this. So, my sister, Lena, got really into this 20 plus years old obscure TV series that's apparently difficult to find online. She's been spending her free time restoring the episodes and adding translation and adding subtitles to them. She's also been writing fan fiction for that. Don't get me wrong, I used to read fanfics as a teenager, but I grew out of it. I told my sister that it's weird that a grown woman spends so much time obsessing over TV shows and going out of her way to restore some old videotapes so she can share the episodes online. And for what? So 5 people can watch them? And what's the point of her writing those fanfics when there's no one to read them? She told me, and I quote, "It brings me joy." And she wouldn't even try to understand my point. I told her it was time to grow up and do more serious things, and she asked me if work wasn't enough. She also asked if I'd say the same thing about a guy playing video games. I told her it was not the same thing, and she knew that. She called me an a-hole and left the cafe. I've been waiting for an apology from her and even called her up, but she told me she doesn't speak with a-holes. I genuinely just tried to help her. Am I the a-hole?
You're going to keep waiting for that phone call because you're an a-hole. Yeah, this one's pretty self-explanatory. You hated on your sister because she enjoys a hobby. I don't care what it is, as long as it's not harmful to herself or others. What are you on about? What are you trying to gatekeep what adult and non-adult things are as far as hobbies are concerned? That's really weird of you to do that, especially like now. I get back in the day when people found out that you either played video games or watched a lot of television as a hobby, they called you lazy, irresponsible. Like there was a whole gambit of things that you got run through. Where like in 2023, that's just a hobby and you're allowed to have them and they're good for you. Right? It's how you release stress. It's how you, in some cases, recenter yourself after a long day of working. You're allowed to have your hobbies. So why are we even in this type of conundrum? Because it wasn't turtly enough for the Turtle Club? Like that's that's what I'm hearing. So in the end, OP, you are definitely an a-hole. You need to back off and stop projecting your life and what you deem is acceptable at certain ages onto your sister. How many of us can truly say that we're in hobbies that give us immense happiness? How many adults get to do that, period?
Not very many.
So just respect and appreciate that your sister is one of those lucky few people that is afforded the luxury of having a hobby that makes her happy and she can put her time into. And you owe her an apology. I don't care what the hobby is. Like I said, I don't even have to cover the fact that it's fan fiction. Whatever it happens to be, just appreciate that they have that happiness in their life.
Well, the consensus on Reddit is that our OP is definitely the resounding a-hole here. In fact, I don't understand how it is, and neither do a lot of commenters understand how it is, that someone could have such a dislike for someone having a hobby. It's a creative outlet. Allow them to live what they want to live without, of course, harming themselves and others. It's not your place to judge that, especially not your place to put it down and tell someone to essentially grow up. Now, I will go ahead and point this out. I've seen this type of play before when it comes to individuals who try and control others. They're trying to genuinely do this just to help them. I have seen this where when someone gets too happy, it is like it is someone else's agenda to try and shit all over that happiness. And I don't understand why. Aside from maybe they're just not happy and they just don't want anybody else to be happy either. Now, I will have to say, our OP sister did have a really funny thing when she said, so a guy playing video games, it's not the same thing. And how our OP says that it wasn't the same thing. It is the same thing. They are both fun hobbies that people like to play.
Yep, there are plenty of people that need video games at the end of their long day to recenter.
I need it. I need all my puzzle games. Talos Principle is my jive, and I am so excited to play it whenever I have a half an hour or an hour to play it at the end of my day.
You get so little time as an adult. Why are you pestering them when they find a little bit of happiness? Go find yours.
Well, we got that out of our system. And by the way, fan fictions are amazing, and I 100% support it, period. Just need to put that out there. Let's go on to our very last story of the day. Am I the a-hole for not allowing my 34 male wife, 29 female, to participate in any discussions regarding our car's insurance and financing? So I know the title sounds pretty rough, but I'm fairly certain I'm in the right about this. So my wife, 29 female, is not a very good driver. To be fair, she's never really tried to learn after her grandma passed in a car accident in her youth. Her dad was driving and it was all very traumatic. We lived in New York City for 10 years, so nobody drove. we would take the subway and taxis/rideshare when we needed. However, last year we finally bought a house in Texas and now need a car as well. I decided on the car, a bit out of budget as it's a newer mod, but it's a great car that will last us a long while. I also chose our insurance. My wife is pissed as she does work as an insurance underwriter and wanted to review both our loan and the insurance details as she would be co-signed on the loan. I disagree. I'm passionate about cars and she has nothing to worry about. I work in insurance as well as a broker, so arguably I know just as much about auto coverages as she does. Where I might be the a-hole is that my wife has pointed out my poor credit decisions in the past. My credit score is good now, thanks to her help in paying down my $30,000 credit card debt. This was all more than 7 years ago. We've been together since uni, so more than 10 years now. So I don't think it's fair to bring it up. She's threatening to not co-sign the loan or pitch in any payments towards the car unless I allow her to carefully go over the terms. So Reddit, am I the a-hole?
What the space mit be?
I like that.
He kind of frames it very well. He and his wife both work in the insurance industry, so they understand it.
They're underwriters.
The only bad part I'm hearing in this story is that your wife's opinion really doesn't matter. I don't understand why it's not okay to have two sets of eyes look over something. You know, you hear normally on the other side of that where the other partner just says, make the decisions. I don't care. I don't want to see them. And then the other person on the other side goes, I need your help. Please let me have another pair of eyes so I know I'm not making the wrong decision. Because you're a partnership, why couldn't you have at least given her that peace of mind? It doesn't make any sense. She has every right to be upset. Insurance is going up right now. You don't know what you're signing up for half the time.
And the loan? Oh, the issue isn't that she just wants to look at the insurance policy. She wants to look at the co-signing of the car.
You both have responsibility towards it. She has every right to be a part of your decisions. Why you don't believe she does is more the interesting question here.
I can actually go ahead and give you some insight in a comment, possibly from our OP. They said she's my wife. I would never intentionally get her into a bad financial decision. We've had shared finances for nearly 10 years. She also knows the terms of the contract, the monthly payments, total loan amount, and the down payment. I just know, though, that she will meticulously go over the contract and find something to nitpick about. Overall, she's reasonable, but not about cars. If she had it her way, we would take Ubers forever.
So it sounds like he wants to get this done quickly and not deal with the details.
Correct.
If you said your wife is meticulous, what are you hiding? If you're saying there's nothing to hide, then let her be meticulous and have peace of mind. At the end of the day, that's what it comes down to for me. You're a partnership, treat each other like your partners, not because I know better or because I like cars more than my wife. She doesn't need to be a part of any of this. So you, in my opinion, OP, are an a-hole.
Well, the consensus is that our OP's the a-hole. And I would just like to come back to the one part that really stuck out to me. Mind you, I'm in finance. So when someone says, a bit out of budget as it's a newer mod, I raised my eyebrow. How much out of budget? A bit of 75,000? A bit of 35,000? What's a bit?
That's true.
Because some people like to downplay things with words. And I felt vindicated because Reddit commenter said he's getting screwed and he knows it, but he desperately wants this specific car. I've seen it happen before. Apparently, our OPs had problems when it comes to debt. $30,000 of credit card debt is nothing to sneeze about. That's a huge thing. For me, that shows that your spending habits are bad. And if allowed to spend how you want, you'd potentially fall right back into that. I've seen it happen to the best of people who've made sure not to make bad financial decisions. The fact that your wife is there trying to make sure that you both are even, and you're saying, I don't want you to look at this stuff, but I want you to sign it without looking at what you're signing. Whew, it rings up so many warning bells to me.
It's only a bit over, baby.
A bit over budget. Oh, Oh, every part of me is like, how much is a bit?
He never explains that, does he?
No, he does
All
not.
right. I would imagine he wouldn't. Your wife sounds like a smart woman. You need to respect that.
Hands down agreed.
Well, was that our last story?
That was our last story.
Fun way to end it off.
Yes.
I can appreciate when people are trying to hide something.
And we all get suspicious.
It's ridiculous.
Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Yeah, that. Well, as our stories come to a close, don't forget, you see in the world what you carry in your heart.
If you have enjoyed listening to us read and talk about today's stories, please rate, subscribe, or follow and turn on notifications for new content. We regularly post on Monday, Wednesdays, and Fridays. We would also love to thank all of our patrons for your support.
Yes, we love and appreciate every single one of y'all.
And if you're having fun with that Black Friday sale, just be safe out there.
Yes, please. And as always, listeners, we look forward to hearing your opinions in the comments below. What did you think about the stories today?
And we'll leave you with a question that we always do every Friday.
What are the weekend plans?
I'm Christmas shopping. I'm so excited. Although I'm not going in person. I'm not for that. I'm all about online sales.
We stopped the in-person stuff a long time ago. And remember, if you post it, maybe we'll see it on the internet.